So we're back for part 2 in our series, More Than Coreqs. So one of the things that I want to talk about today is the fundamental piece that's essential if you want the co-requisite part of a remediation to be effective. There, again, we're going to talk about lots of different pieces that are needed in this series this month, but it's all about the idea of how do you make redesign at scale work, knowing that coreqs are probably going to be one component of it, but how do you make them work the best they can? And what else do you need besides them to make them work? But a couple of things that are really prominent is the idea of addressing the fact of what are we going to correct? Are we talking about something like college algebra? Are we talking about statistics or liberal arts math or something like that? Basically, which pathway are we looking at, STEM or non-STEM? They are night and day different. If you are going to correct something like stats or liberal arts math, where there isn't a strong need for recent prerequisite math knowledge, the way that you set it up, the number of credit hours, whether or not you have the same teacher or a different teacher, how many sections you offer, all of those things matter related to the fact of how the content works. Whereas something like college algebra, if you're going to co-rec it, well, it highly depends on recent prerequisite knowledge. And it's not one of those courses where we can just add a couple of extra hours and students will get up to where they need to be. If they haven't had algebra recently, it's going to be a real struggle. So we have to know who is going into that, how many credit hours are we going to use, what's the approach that we're going to take, and if they're not ready for that, what are they taking instead? So the first element of making coreqs work is addressing what are you going to do a corec with, and not all things are equal. So again, this is just a high level overview of things that we have to look at, but this is something you do need to ask yourself. What are we going to correct? And then go from there, because depending on the pathway, there's going to be a big difference in the way that you go.